Hey, book clubbers, happy Friday. It's Kirby Morales here with our third session on Dare to Lead. And we're talking about section 2, which starts on page 45 and runs through page 70. This has been my favorite part of the book yet. And I'm also listening to it on Audible. So I have a long train ride to and from the city where I can kind of tune in and listen to that. If you have an opportunity to download or purchase, or if you have the Audible app, I would encourage you to listen to it in addition to reading it, because hearing the storytelling coming right from Brene is quite powerful. And I almost feel like there's a different context when you're hearing it come directly from her. So that's my recommendation. If you get a chance to do that, I highly recommend it. But there is a lot in this section, a lot. And there's a lot I want to talk about. I'm trying to scale it back, keep us focused on just a couple of areas. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about assembling our armor, and then talking about the cave that we fear to enter. Those are the two things that I really want to talk about in this book. So, we all use armor to protect ourselves, right? But it's heavy. It's heavy, and it prevents us from growing, from being seen, from being able to connect with other people. And when we are in fear, or when an emotion is really driving us and driving that self-protection, we all have a fairly predictable pattern of how we assemble our armor. She talks about six different things that we may say or process through. I'm going to read through those really quickly for us. So the first one, I'm not enough. The next one is, if I'm honest with them about what's happening, they'll think less of me, or maybe even use it against me. The third one, no way I'm going to be honest about this. No one else does it. Why do I have to put myself out there? Fourth, yeah, screw them. I don't see them being honest. What about what scares them? And they've got plenty of issues. It's actually their issues and shortcomings that make me act this way. This is their fault, and they're trying to blame me. And then the last one, in fact, now that I think about it, I'm actually better than them. I may have had those thoughts, feelings. I may have even said some of those things in the past. Hopefully you've had some time to rumble with those and are having some self-awareness around that as well. But the question that we have around that is, what are two situations that are likely to lead you to armoring up? So I'll mention two of mine really quickly here. The first is, if I've provided feedback, direction, strategy, implemented something, and it doesn't either come across the way I intended it to, or maybe it doesn't have the impact that I was hoping it would, that may cause me to armor up a little bit and get a little defensive about that, because there is a sense of pride around an idea or a thought or a connection. And then the second question is, what does your armoring up look like? So some people might use body language, like folding their arms or literally turning their back. You may use your words. That's what I do. I use my words. I'll try and talk myself around, through, away from something. Some people will use their thoughts, and it's like, beating themselves up. And then some other people may have go-to transformer behaviors that Brene talks about. So what does your armoring up process look like? And then let's talk a little bit. I got two more questions for us around the cave you fear to enter. So what is your personal call to courage as a leader? And the second question, what is the cave that you fear to enter and why? So I'll share my personal call to courage as a leader is to give timely, constructive feedback, and to make sure it's very clear and kind, as Brene talks about in the book. And I don't have an answer to the second one yet. I need to rumble with that a little bit more if I want to be really honest with you all. And I'll put that answer down in the comments below. So that's what we're talking about this week. I look forward to hearing from all of you. And I wanted to close by sharing my favorite quote from this section, which is found on page 67. And it says, leaders must either invest a reasonable amount of time attending to fears and feelings, or squander an unreasonable amount of time trying to manage ineffective and unproductive behavior. I highlighted it. I loved it. It was already in bold, but I highlighted it. That's a great quote, and I'm going to sit with that a little bit longer. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. Stay tuned. We're going to try and do some kind of live session next week, so you'll see an event created for that. Hope to engage with some of you in actual dialogue in person around this section. Have a great weekend.